right, good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, September 17th, 2014, and this is Before the First Cup with Jules on UCY.TV. Good morning. How is everybody doing? It is kind of chilly here today. Honestly, I don't have my phone and my my little widget on the side of my desktop. Looks like my machine ran out of system memory, and it's set for 60 degrees in Redmond, Washington. So not sure what that's about. Good old Billy Gates inserted himself into my computer again. But it sure feels like it's about 60 here. I don't know. Hold on one second. We'll take a look. We will take a look. It has been very, very fall-like here in the upper Great Lakes. Summer ended abruptly, even though it was like the summer that never started. I think we had 2 90-degree days maybe, and it was right at the very end of the summer, and then it went down to like 50. But we have had a couple nights in the 40s already, and there was one night a few days ago that was right at the 40 border, so it could have dropped into the 30s if there'd been one more little poof of wind. Yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a look. I hope everyone's doing all right for Wednesday. I want to apologize to everybody for last night. I was planning on being around because I'm always around on Tuesdays, but last couple days I haven't been feeling too well. Oh, it's 50 here, so it's not even 60. I haven't been feeling too well, and it really pisses me off because once school starts, that means that the typhoid Marys are walking around spreading untold child germs everywhere. And, just like every single year, a week into the school year, my munchkin comes home with a stuffy nose, and bam, she's got a cold. And, actually, she's been doing great the last, I'd say 3, 4, 5 years. She really hasn't been sick much at all. But this one seems to be a bad one. I guess a couple of her friends have been out of school for 3 or 4 days already, and they're pretty sick. And, with all this enterovirus that we've been watching that has been spreading through schools, I think the last I saw was in 12 states already. I think I caught something last night that said that it spread all the way across the country. So we'll look at that a bit later. I think she's doing all right. Nothing short, nothing more than a stuffy nose and, not even really a cough or anything, no fever. But I'll tell you what, when I'm stressed out and I'm not getting sleep like I didn't over the last couple days, sure enough, don't I wake up and like half my head's stuffy. So I'm sniffing now, but I've been pounding my D3, and it definitely the last couple days has been a battle. So yesterday, I was pretty beat. And when, we have a busy night of all live shows, I like to be here. I want to make sure that everybody kicks over and we don't have any issues. But I want to apologize because, I literally went and closed my eyes for 26 minutes. That's what my phone said. I had 26 minutes until the next alarm went off for me to get up and make sure that the show was on. And that was all she wrote. It was probably about 8:30, 8:15. Next thing I know, I open my eyes, and it is 4 a.m., and I'm like, oh, my God, what happened? And that was it. So, anyway, I will definitely try to be around next Tuesday. It's a bummer. So I want to apologize to Prepper Chick. Honestly, I looked twice yesterday at the programming to make sure that nobody was on rebroad, and apparently somehow they were still on rebroad. So you guys had to listen to the same Prepper Chicks After Dark 2 weeks in a row, but at least she said that you guys all hung out and chat and everyone had fun. So I'm sorry, I might have to show Prepper Chick how to go into the server and unkill a rebroad if I forget. So okay, here's something that hit me last night that I want to talk about that is really bizarre, and I'm about ready to get into a battle with YouTube, and I really hate getting into a battle with places like this, but I'm going to tell you, this really pissed me off, and if it's for the reason that I think it is, it's even going to piss me off more. So I get this letter, and here, let me see if I can get there. This is to the UCY account. Gmail. Maybe. Oh, I'm not logged in. Okay. So, all right. I get this email from YouTube. And back, I don't know, a week or two ago, when I was logged in, I got this little message on YouTube that said, hey, you know what? You got like 220. Was it 2? Hey, someone messaged us about music. Oh, that's cool. Anyway, I logged into YouTube and it said, hey, you got like 20 videos out of all these videos you got up here that aren't monetized. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I do monetize the videos, so you're going to see a little ad at the bottom. And anyone who thinks that you're going to become a millionaire monetizing on videos got another thing coming. If I'm lucky, UCY makes $4 a month on monetizing all the shows. And since the hosts don't have to pay for broadcasting, you know, I don't know, $4 at least covers the call-in number for the month. That's $3.99. So, you know, I don't know. I don't think no one's ever complained to me about it. And like I said, it's not like you're going to make $1 million, but every few dollars helps because that means that it is not coming out of my pocket, which most of it does. Except for, by the way, I want to thank Top Knot. Thank you for your contribution, Top Knot. Every penny is appreciated, and it goes back into helping me cover the bills for the network. Anyway, so for my $4 that I make a month on YouTube, I said, well, screw it. I got 20 more videos somewhere along the way that I didn't click monetize on, so go monetize the other 20 videos. So I get this message then that I totally forgot I had done that, but I get this message from YouTube in my Gmail yesterday right at dinner time, and it says, Dear UCY.TV, this email is regarding the monetization of your video Ep 7 Post Ignorance with Kevin Blanche on February 6, 2014. We have not been able to confirm that you have the necessary rights to commercially use all the video material and the music included in your videos, so we ask that you provide written documentation substantiating your claim. YouTube is not in a position to offer legal advice or counsel to you in any way. However, you can refer to our help center to get a sense of the types of documents we receive. Please be sure to pay attention to any limitations and or conditions specified by the rights holder concerning the use of the content. Note that messages, comments, and postings from social media websites, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, etc., or blogs may not be sufficient to establish your commercial use rights. Please submit the required information here. Note that your video may not be monetized if we do not hear from you in 14 days. YouTube reserves the right to make the final decision on whether to monetize a video, and partners who repeatedly submit ineligible videos may lose the ability to monetize. Now, first of all, Mr. Kevin Blanche's show, the banner that we use, which is the only image that's in that recording, happens to be a picture of Mr. Blanche. And the banner happens to be a banner that I created using the picture of Mr. Blanche. And the music happens to be a song by Mr. Ozzy Skateboard that we made sure we took care of Mr. Ozzy Skateboard for using his own instruments. And the verbiage, the talking that is within the intro with Mr. Ozzy Skateboard's music happens to be Mr. Kevin Blanche giving a lecture. So there is nothing in there that is not an alternative media group, okay? There is no big corporation that can claim rights to any of that. And I don't have written permission. I don't know. You do a show here and I'm promoting you. You know, I mean, what am I supposed to do? So I'm really trying to, so do I go to Kevin and I go to Ozzy and I'm like, please tell YouTube that I can make the 8 cents on the video I mean, seriously? And they won't even let me cancel it. So now they're holding my feet to the fire. And I've never gotten anything like this before in the 4 years that I've been doing this with these shows and stuff. This is the first time I've ever gotten a letter like this. But pay attention, because this may be coming a lot more often. But I had a horrible thought this morning. And guys, if this happens to be the issue, I don't know. I'm going to have to come up with something, because this is just absolutely insane. I remember when Mr. Blanche, and I still, if Kevin's listening, surprise, I have to tell Kevin about this, but I remember when he first started doing shows, not here, he had his YouTube channel, he was just doing his daily videos, and he had put out a video one day saying that he got a copyright strike, and the copyright strike was on him coming out at the beginning of his videos, and let's see if it happens to this show once it gets pushed up to YouTube. And Kevin says they'll be calling you a radical at the beginning of his show. They hit him for a Supertramp copyright on that. Well, I went to that February 6th, episode 7, Post Ignorance with Kevin Blanche, and actually in that show, he said that at the beginning of the show. If they're trying to hit me for copyright for him saying they'll be calling you a radical, which I don't know, can you copyright a sentence? I believe there was 6 words. They'll be calling you a radical. 6 words. Can you copyright someone badly singing a sentence? Because I'm going to call absolute, utter bullshit on that. And if that comes to that, you know, my sister's been in New York for 25 years. She also, on top of being in film, she's done, she actually was voted the best DJ in New York City one year. And she's got all these music friends. She did musical rights for a large global film company. You know what? I'm going to have her find me one of the Supertramp guys, if that's the case, and I'm going to get a written letter from one of those dudes just to say, fuck you, YouTube, because this, after Pigmine 5 and now this, come on. I mean, is this the retard patrol or what? Don't you have anything better to do with your resources? So, I don't know. Color me annoyed, but I can't even get over how ridiculous this is. So I need to go to, like, my controller and beg them to write me a letter to say I have permission for something. I mean, I have permission for it. I don't have any doubt I have permission for it. You want me to upload your show, then I better have permission for it, right? So that's all I want to say about that. You know, I've talked about this. We haven't talked about it in a while because there haven't really been any standing bills for PIPA, SIPA, POPA, all those other stupid censorship bills, which is pretty much what they came down to. But I really think, and one of the reasons why I made certain that everyone got rid of any copyright on their bumpers was because I really think that at some point here in the future, just like they've talked about, you know, they want to put teeth to the copyright laws. And one of the senators had come out and said, you know, there are no teeth right now, and that's one of the issues. And so what they were talking about doing is making it a felony for a first offense. And I gotta tell you, running a radio network, I am not going to allow copyrighted stuff on my network, especially if they decide to make it a felony for one offense. Nope, not going to happen. But I got to tell you, too, it also was a pain in the ass that every single show that got uploaded to YouTube, I had to then go in and write them a story and tell them why and get permission from any of the... So, you know what? I fixed all that. I don't have time to deal with any of that, and we try not to run anything copyrighted. So, okay, that's about all I wanted to say about that. There were definitely a couple things yesterday. Hold on, I'm going to get my pages up because yesterday afternoon, before I had to run upstairs, I did come across some things that I thought you guys would find interesting. There, of course, was a story. You know, we've been talking about this Ebola stuff. I never read Fox News. Okay, I just don't. My dad sometimes watches it if I'm visiting or whatever, and I just get so annoyed with Fox News. But somebody posted a story yesterday from Fox News that I definitely had to share because, come on, here's the title. U.S. Ebola patient, quote-unquote, bored in Nebraska isolation unit. That's the headline. Not like he's improving or getting sicker or in Nebraska. You know, number 4 Ebola patient in the United States. No! Ebola patient bored in Nebraska. Omaha. Nebraska doctors treating an American aid worker battling Ebola said that he has improved, but he's getting bored in his isolation room. Why don't you guys give him some video games? I don't know, get him an iPad. Something like that. And I'd imagine you probably don't have much in the way of company or anything, but can he watch TV? Why don't you put on Fox News? Deborah Sacker says the Nebraska Medical Center brought in a chessboard. Well, that would make me bored. Books and a Nerf basketball hoop to help entertain her husband, Dr. Rick Sakra. The 51-year-old has been hospitalized since September 5th as he recovers from the deadly disease he contracted while working in a hospital in Liberia. Debbie Sakra said Monday her husband is becoming mentally sharper every day, but he still tires easily. Another American aid worker is being treated for Ebola at Emory University Hospital in Atlanta, and 2 other doctors were treated for Ebola there previously. More than 2,200 deaths have now been reported during the Ebola outbreak in West Africa. Now, we talked yesterday about how Obama was sending troops to Africa to go fight Ebola. Now, how amazing is that? Like, we had talked about that. Like, what the hell are they going to do? And if you were in the armed services right now, would you be excited to be going to fight Ebola in Africa? Because I know I wouldn't be. Well, let's see if we can find this. We're going to find the story. Oh, the White House says that it must strike ISIS while the iron is hot. Yes. Now, why doesn't ISIS have Ebola? Wouldn't that be a good combination? And if they all infected themselves with Ebola and then started running from country to country, wow, that would be some terror now, wouldn't it? I don't know. Did we end up with any updates to that story? Remember, I was unconscious trying to recover yesterday, so I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, Iraq. I don't know. Looks like there was lots of crap stories. Battling Ebola. Here we go. I knew that I saw something yesterday. All right, let me add myself to this call, and we'll get this going on. I'm still at like half a cup, so don't mind me. Stop playing, and let's find me. Oh, by the way, this Friday and next Friday, both Lady Pippo and myself have previous commitments. Actually, I'm going to be going to visit some friends this weekend, and then I got family coming in town. Here we go. There. All right. So Mr. Sholly is going to be running before the first cup this coming Friday and next Friday. So that should be a treat for everybody. All right, here we go. U.S. to send 3,000 troops to battle Ebola in West Africa. I still want to know how they're going to do this. Yes, trained doctors is what it says. Obama will be
sending up to 3,000 American troops into the heart of West Africa's Ebola epidemic. His new plan follows criticism of the U.S. response to the outbreak. At least 4,700 people in 5 countries have been infected. At least 2,400 of them have died. Dean Reynolds is at the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta, where the president will speak this afternoon.
Good morning. The Obama administration is calling this a significant expansion in the U.S. fight against the most severe Ebola outbreak in history. Thousands more in U.S. personnel and millions more in U.S. aid will be sent to West Africa in the hopes of turning the tide.
You know, I gotta say, this dude, this president, I can't get over how bloodthirsty he is. So everything has a gun and a bomb attached to it. So we're fighting Ebola now with troops. But it's absolute, utter bullshit. I cannot even believe. All right, here, I got to continue.
In a 4-pronged attack, President Obama will increase U.S. resources in West Africa aimed at slowing and eventually stopping the spread of Ebola.
We're going to deploy their knowledge and resources to try to help some of the governments in Africa meet the needs of their people.
Called Operation United Assistance, the administration hopes to galvanize international partners into action while significantly expanding its own contribution.
Making an investment here early is critical to trying to snuff out this problem before it becomes a much more widespread problem.
Among the investments, an additional $88 million for equipment and supplies, 17 treatment units, each with 100 beds and up to 3,000 military personnel to help contain the epidemic, and train up to 500 medical workers per week for as long as needed.
What we say is train the trainers, right? Train the local people so that they can do all the work.
Time is critical. The epidemic is growing exponentially and supplies are rapidly dwindling. Officials say assets will be on the ground within weeks, but international aid groups like Doctors Without Borders have been sounding the alarm for months. The U.S. focus will initially be on Liberia, where the rate of infection is fastest.
This is a very large epidemic. It's going to take a lot of effort over a long period of time. This is not going to go over quickly.
Now, to push for greater international involvement, the U.S. is calling a special session of the UN Security Council on Thursday to discuss the global implications of the Ebola outbreak, and Mr. Obama is going to seek stronger commitments from other heads of state at the UN General Assembly next week.
So the UN now is getting involved. We're going to contribute $88 million, I believe I just heard him say, to the effort. We're building 17 facilities, and we're going to train up to 500 people a day. That sounds, and this is going to go on for as long as is needed. To me, that sure as hell sounds like some pretty extreme commitments for a virus outbreak. And they're like, well, we're getting into this early on. Now, we've been talking about this since March. March is the 3rd month of the year. We are now in September, which is the 9th. So 6 months this has been going on, and we are just now thinking about getting involved. I would say that would be considered early on in this situation, now that 2,200 people are dead. What I still want to know, though, is why the hell we do not have restrictions on our airports. You know, that to me, and securing the homeland, I mean, I'm saying that kind of tongue-in-cheek, since that's been their big mantra since 2001. But I mean, wouldn't you be making sure you had CDC screeners or something at each of the airports? They got all these new DARPA tools that can use lasers and see pot residue on your fingertips. You mean to tell me that you couldn't, like, shine a laser on someone as they're walking through, you know, one of those nude scanners that you got everywhere to say that you have an elevated body temperature? Maybe you need to be pulled aside and have somebody look down your throat. I don't know. What are the early signs of Ebola? Especially if you came from any country that has a massive infection. Now, I'm not saying that we want any more intrusion into our travels back and forth, but I think, honestly, that this is a serious concern, more so than any of this other bullshit, the underwear bomber, the shoe bomber, the TSA pants groping bullshit. That has all panned out to be what? A way for Chair Tough and all of his cronies to get their products into all the airports so their Q4 looked good. How many terrorists have we actually caught? Quote unquote terrorists. So hold on here. We are going to bring in Wendy. Here we go. Like we talked about a couple weeks ago, even in China when they had that, it was one of the plagues. Oh, which one was it? It was the pneumonic, the upper respiratory plague. And they had quarantined an entire Chinese village for a month because they had some people who were sick in there. If they could do that in rural China and they found that to be a serious threat, why the hell, if we are just like contributing all this money and now sending all these troops and blah, 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 and oh, hey, we have the secret serum that cures everybody, why would we not be securing our borders? And again, the southern border is another one. I heard G. Michael talking about that yesterday. He had a good guest on, and they had spent some time talking about Ebola. Good morning, Wendy. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Good. What's going on?
I think all this mold is getting to me.
Yeah, I'm definitely having issues right now.
Ugh, I'm feeling yucky. I just don't have any energy, and I feel like sleeping, and it's just, and my sinuses are all there.
Yeah, though who knows, this enterovirus, like I said at the beginning of the show, the last 2 days I've been feeling like I'm battling again. It's that time of year, waking up with like half a stuffed head and going unconscious the second I close my eyes.
Oh my God, that's when you're coughing so bad you can't get air into your lungs.
My lungs hurt. I even said to my husband this morning that if I start to feel any worse, I might have to go get a chest x-ray, and I really hate doing that, but even my back hurts right over my lungs.
Oh, so, boy.
I don't know. I don't know if it's what Munchkin has or if it's all the mold. I mean, it's so damp up here outside. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's been really warm enough,
It's like I said, like the other day, I just had my leather jacket hanging on a doorknob all summer long next to my bike out just in the open air or whatever, covered with mold.
See, that's messed up. And I think I mentioned to you a few weeks ago that we were seeing these mushrooms. I don't know if I sent you any of the pictures, but there were like 12 different types of mushrooms, and they were popping up overnight. And all these different places in the grass. And then the next day, like I'd go get pictures of them. I'm like, wow, look at that one, look at that one. The next day, they were covered in fungus and dead. Like, when have you ever seen a mushroom get fungus or whatever it was? I don't know. It was some weird looking stuff.
Ew, it's just terrible. And just thinking that stuff is in my sinus cavities.
Well,
and stuff.
In your lungs, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. On Friday, we're getting the vents scraped out here, so I'm hoping that helps.
Oh, but good, yeah.
And that's why I can't really be on. Speaking of that, Sholly's asking to jump in.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Here, let's pull him in.
Sweet.
We will pull him in. It'll be a Wednesday extravaganza.
Yay. So, do you have a nebulizer?
No.
See, you should go get a nebulizer and nebulize that 500 parts per million silver.
Yeah, I did get that. I have
and get the silver into your lungs, and because I've got a nebulizer when I'm having respiratory problems, and I'll put a tiny little pinch of Himalayan salt in there too, just a teeny tiny pinch. of that, because obviously salt and electricity doesn't really work too well together, because it freaks out the nebulizing electrical system if you put too much salt in. But the silver in the salt really, really kills anything in your lungs that you've got going on, and it opens up your passages. So it's that's the best way I can think of to do it. Yeah. And then we've got a little we've got a cool ass it's a vaporizer, but it's like a air vaporizer, and you put water in it, and you put like an essential oil in it, and she's been putting thieves oil in it. So that's been getting in the air, and killing the mold that's in the air, which has really been a big help.
Well, dehumidifiers help also.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Hey, I think Sholly's here. Good morning, Sholly.
Hey. Good morning.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Awesome.
I've been, I every now and then what I do is I'll get some of that colloidal silver or whatever, and then I'll just kind of like use it as an inhaler, kind of.
Yeah.
Like when I was back in 08 or 09 when I was out in California, and I had, this is probably, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 months after the H1N1, overblown scare. And so I'm heading out to see my sister, in past Sacramento, and I was like, oh, I'm getting sick. I've got the swine flu, and so I just, when I got there, I told her, I was just like, I'm sorry, but I'm sick and everything. So I just kind of started doing that, spraying it in there. And I think that goes a long way into not, if there's something of the coughing or something, but they say that you're most contagious with something before you're even showing signs, right? Or signs or symptoms.
Yeah.
With things. Well, unfortunately, like this Ebola thing, the 2 to 21 day gestation period where you could spread it all over the place. Scary.
It is.
So what do you think about these I can't even believe how retarded. I mean, this is like, take a brick and slam it into your skull, dumb, that I mean, if anyone believes that we're sending troops to battle Ebola, you need to suck some more toothpaste out of the tube.
Yeah. I mean, it's reckless and irresponsible, absolutely. And they're sending a general out there, too. So when I heard they were sending a general out there, the first thing that came into my mind was, oh, they're getting rid of the people who won't shoot on American citizens. The troops that won't shoot on American citizens. It just seems like they're trying to get rid of the good people that are, in the military, and there's a good way to do it. Let's just commit them over to Africa. I mean, that's the first thing that just came into my mind. That's all.
I mean, they're basically molesting Africa,
right?
In every way, shape, and form, and this here is, I think this here is a way that that they're going to be able to, send these troops there as well, and everything that they do almost has like a multi-pronged effect. Like there'll be 3,000 troops going over here. And then, we're kind of weakened in this area. So, I don't know. I mean, it couldn't be. I mean, we are slowly economically being weakened, okay?
Slowly? Yeah, actually. It's like the big sucking sound that Ross Perot talked about in Fast Forward. Yeah.
And now, we've got an economic crisis that's been ongoing, and of course before what we had the H1N1 thing that I believe a lot of this stuff was all like was just all a bunch of tester, just like SARS and some of these other things, and of course we got this enterovirus now, and then we've got Ebola, which is something that that just like Bin Laden, just like, oh yeah, Bin Laden over all the years. Oh, what have we heard for a number of years? Ebola. It's just something that, that they are planting in our minds, in our worlds, and eventually they're going to drop something that's it's just going to be real nasty, and that it's just the weakening of the population economically, and then with regards to amnesty, that's going to weaken us. I mean, they're just putting nails in our coffin here, is what they're doing. And it can't be, it couldn't be more obvious to us, but to, most people out there, they just, their bliss is, I want their bliss to go away is what I want. I drive around and I think about all the people that I've spoken to in the past and said, this is going on, that's going on, and they don't really care. I mean, these people have children, they have this, they have that, and I just think to myself, when this affects them, how am I going to stop myself from giggling and smiling, even if I'm bleeding from the eyes? I'll be like, you're dying, they're killing you, I told you, go fuck yourself. That's I don't know if that's going to be me at that time, but I just feel real. I just feel we all get a litmus test, all right? I mean, I'm sure that you've shared this stuff with your families individually, and just everybody. A buddy of mine who had that I worked with who had the stroke. People just don't want to think about this. They just want to, and I'm like, I get it, but I don't. I mean, I understand that people want to live in peace and they want to live in, have peace of mind. But are you, it's like you're sacrificing the future by, wanting, just total peace and bliss right now. It's like, I'm going to laugh at you when you're, bleeding from the ass. I'm going to laugh at you.
Well, here's something that I've been thinking about. I just saw that there's this headline of a clip of Obama yesterday talking about the Ebola scare, and it says, Obama, Ebola outbreak threat to global security. Well, there you go, okay? So there's the umbrella to launch the troops. There's the umbrella now to bring Big Pharma into the fold. Because remember, Big Pharma got to be a part of the corporatocracy that is puppeteering the government once Obamacare went into place, right? We talked about that, how Obamacare is not considered a health care plan. Congress voted on that, and when they voted that it wasn't considered a health care plan, all of those laws that were put into place that covered Medicare, Medicaid, anti-corruption laws are now null and void. So slippery palms are absolutely 100% legal. You can take kickbacks and bribes. It's not going to matter anymore. So they now are part of this industrial complex. We have the prison industrial complex, the military industrial complex. Now we have the big pharma industrial complex. Right? People were squawking about vaccines. Well, let's have a global pandemic that's a threat to global security. Why don't you read the NDAA and some of those civilian internee manuals? Because I'll tell you what, if you are unvaccinated, they stated it outright that you would be considered a threat to the many. And by being a threat to the many, your personal liberties no longer matter. Hold you down, watch Georgia for the drunk driving test as they get you in that chair and have 6 people hold you down as they're strapping you into a chair and forcibly taking blood.
Yep.
That is what this is all about. They can make all kinds of money. Oh, what? They got DARPA in the middle of all this helping to make vaccines. DARPA is sprinkling seed money to all these different big pharma companies to develop these new RNAi vaccines. And what? Oh, they're using tobacco. Philip Morris and R.J. Reynolds is in the middle of it. Holy shit. Big Tobacco 2 makes bank.
Big bank.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what this is all about. It is now stitching it all together nice and neatly and pulling the thread.
Cigarettes are good.
Yes, cigarettes are good because they make vaccines. That's because, guess what? All these guys, even though they knew that cigarettes were dangerous to people's health, notice how these big tobacco companies still are allowed to sell this stuff. Oh, what, it's addictive? Oh, but that's okay. Because you know what? We're all invested in big tobacco. I'm talking about the rich guys. Yeah, we warned you.
Yeah, Bill and Melinda Gates, $50 million they're giving to fight the the Ebola thing, and it's
really. I thought it was
we
5.
mentioned that. No, it was 50 million. I believe.
It up. Mm-hmm. Well, how in the hell is it that? When's the last time we sent troops in to support another country's martial law? That's what I want to know.
Well, I mean,
it martial law there? I didn't hear it was martial law.
Well, I mean, there was a picture the other day of just a bunch of people surrounding this one person that was laying in the street that had supposedly died from Ebola, and they're just all like standing there with gloves and everything. I mean, this whole thing, like Jules has alluded to and spoken about, this is all part of just the AFRICON. He just had this
academic conference.
Yeah, he had all the murderous beheading scumbag pieces of shit that the West implanted into all these different African countries. It's just all part of the thing. I mean, this might not, I mean, we might get a little, I think over here, Ebola could be obviously less harmful over in our environment, because if you read some of John Rappaport's, if you read some of his articles over at No More Fake News, he points out all of the different situations over there. You've got doctors that are over there. It's hot as hell. They're wrapped in these uniforms,
IVAC suits,
and they're sweating and sweating and sweating. I mean, just that environment right there alone can affect your immune system in a great way. And what they lost, like maybe 4 doctors or something over there. So Africa obviously is a place where they're not getting a lot of clean water. They're not getting a lot of good food. They're not, and overall, I think that their health over there is shitty. And of course, that's the way this system wants the people. Of course, that's the way they're going to want it here. I mean, they literally want to turn America into Gaza 2.0. I mean, if you look at this, it's all about impoverishing people. It's all about economically destroying them, and so many different things. And I think Africa, they're going to be able to achieve all the things that they want to over there. And then I think Ebola is going to have a certain effect over here, but it's always going to be something. I think it's going to be something that they're going to use throughout the next 3 to 5 years further as a threat for this. And then, of course, the forcing of the vaccines and all that. And people are going to, fight back and do this stuff. But it's all according to what the people are going to allow. I mean, that's truly what it is. It's just like, okay, you say you're going to do this, and you're going to fight this war on this biological agent that for most part was weaponized by the West and all these other organizations, and that stuff's going to come out too. So it's just going to, I don't know if it's going to be super awful, but I think it's just going to be enough for them to be able to continue the the oppressive, rule over the peasants and the scum that they eventually want to die. It's going to be something, but at this point, obviously, we don't know. But that's what my take is.
I mean, here's the thing: we've been watching, at least on this show, over the last couple of years, these idiot scientists coming out and demanding that they publish their results on how to make bird flu and this
Mouse
one and that
pox.
one. Yeah, well, more virulent and serious than it was in the first place. Let's say,
yes, plausible deniability as well.
Well, that it would kill like 90%, and then they were messing with that 1918 flu, and they made it more. more virulent as well. And then we saw the stories about, we found vials of this, that, and the other thing just sitting out in the open, and oh my God, there's no security, and all these horrifying agents. And right on the heels of that, whoops, this is the worst outbreak of Ebola ever in the history of mankind.
Yeah.
It's all orchestrated bullshit. And at some point, you've seen a couple stories now where there are people who became infected that had no contact with Ebola victims, so now they're afraid. And the fact that it came out in the New York Times, I think, is suspect. Now they're afraid that it could potentially be airborne. We saw a story that they had discovered, and what was so disturbing about this Ebola is that it seems to be mutating 300 times between hosts. They've never seen anything like that before.
Oh, my God.
300 times?
That's crazy. I mean, what are the...
No, that's called, it was made in a petri dish, is what that is.
Yeah.
Well, it could be, burning itself out, like a lot of these things say that they do. I mean, if it mutates, I doubt, obviously, I doubt that it's going to get stronger.
It wasn't designed like that, Sholly. This is an app, I'm telling you, I've been spending a lot of time digging into the science of these viruses and the science of these new vaccines and who's involved and what butt is rubbing another butt and who's in bed with who. And I'm telling you, they're engineering this shit. This is not an accident. This didn't come from freaking fruit bats.
Yeah, but they engineered a lot of this other stuff too. I mean, I'm just wishful thinking here. I hope it's not. That it's not, the Stand,
hey, my worst nightmare. The book that I read in 1979 that I've never forgotten. I've been waiting for that day. Yes, The Stand.
The day's already here.
It's been on TV too. So I mean, they made it like they do with a lot of
miniseries. Yeah, they did.
Which was pretty good too. But yeah, it all revolves around only a small group of people being able to survive it, and then of course the devil's there and all that other stuff. So
well, they did too. They have been messing with making genetically modified organisms that will attack people of certain demographics, and I mean they can do that now because they're messing with this RNA and DNA. Okay, so they can go in and identify that a certain class of people or a certain group of people or certain people from a certain background have some sort of genetic markers in common, and they'll be able to target those
race-specific bioweapons.
Yeah.
How lovely. You know what? When's Jesus going to intervene, man? That's all I want. I need the buddy Jesus from the what was that? Silent Bob.
Oh, I saw that. No,
we need the buddy Jesus, man. He needs to show up and put all these vipers in their place.
I posted for the show today, and I found a little thing that said, "Be the kind of woman that when your feet hit the floor each morning, the devil says, 'Oh crap, she's up.'"
That's a great one.
That's nice.
I like that one. That's like the best one yet.
Yeah, because you know what? Sometimes I think he does.
You know he does. That's awesome.
Needless to say, things are going to get very interesting in
next 6 months.
I don't know the next 6 months. I mean, again, I think that what they're going to do is they're going to implement some more, tyranny, and like Jules said, that all this stuff was happening over there, and here it is 6-7 months later, and now something is going to be done about it. It's just like if you listen to, I don't know if you ever listened to that Michael Scheuer. Have you ever listened to him?
No.
There was a clip of him. I listened to Brandon Turbeville's last show for the 15th. He recorded it prior to, I think it was the eve of 9/11, and it was Michael Scheuer on there being interviewed by RT, one of the gals on RT, and
I put that in there. Yeah, he was the former CIA agent.
Yes,
that talked about Israel. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure the guy's Jewish himself. Just
that I don't know, but
I mean, just kind of looking at him and the name, I thought, okay, this guy's pointing out. And of course, there's other videos where he said, I would dump Israel tomorrow. I'll try to find it and I'll post it in there. But it's him talking to King, that speech impedimented, moron, King from New York State.
Yeah.
He is the biggest piece of shit among other pieces of shit like Schumer and a lot of other people.
Yeah, he's very neocon.
And he was just absolutely. But then you can see in this video, and it's like 9 minutes long, but it's like they're witnesses, and Scheuer is the first one out of maybe 5 or 6. And they start to ask him, well, what have you seen over here? And he just starts laying it out, saying, they don't hate us because we have women in the workforce. They don't hate us because of this. They don't hate us because of that. They hate us because we support Israel and we are basically up their ass over there. That's why they hate us. And of course, it's all. But
do you want me to play that clip? I have that on my desktop here somewhere.
Sure. They're just really, really, very, very powerful, clips. And of course, I've heard it before. But then, when was that something that Brandon said? Go ahead and play this, or is that just something that?
No, he always puts a break in. So then I'll go through like videos and stuff that I've either had or some of the newest news. Usually, it's stuff that dovetails with what he was talking about, but I had been working on these 2-minute promos that I'm going to try and find some slots for, and I was like, oh, this is just too good.
Yeah. And make no mistake, I mean, we got those, as I said in a couple last week and the week before, those 28 pages are circulating around Congress, and it's gaining steam and power and all kinds of stuff regarding 9/11. Okay, and if that stuff, I mean, that can send tremors through this whole power system here, okay? Because it would open up doors and windows to things that they will not allow, and I think that's what's going on here. The level of chaos that you see out there is in tune with the amount of heat that this system. Because what's the option? What's the option for them? They either gain ultimate control, or they're found out and they go to jail and they get hung, or they get executed by the masses that find out that they were behind all this stuff. So that's why we've got these pandemics and all this other stuff. So
I think you're right about that.
Well, it has to keep playing on the red fear button that 9/11 created. Beep, 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 I mean, every time they activate that button, people cower and hide under their desks.
Yeah, and I mean, Saudi's supposed to be an ally of ours, but then, of course, we're also finding out that they funded Qatar, Turkey, funded this jihadist group.
Well, and the only reason that Saudi is a friend of ours is because we're all twisted in the oil. I mean, all those American companies, we were looking at that, the Aramco the other day, and go back through history. I mean, it's Exxon, Chevron, all these other companies that had it, from, I think it was like Southern Cal Oil or Standard Oil, and then the Southern Cal division is the one who actually did the discovery, and then the Saudi government, which, we actually helped puppeteer, then bought a share, and whatever. It's the Bush clan still. It's all Bush and cronies.
Yeah, and I mean, it's
Brother Bandar.
That's right. They're all the Bush blood buddies.
Yep.
They're just they're trying to hold it together here, and they're going to try to create as many distractions as possible while still staying on the agenda. And the point is that Syria's got to go. Yeah, they do. And Iran's got to go. Yeah, so they have to stay on this, and they've got the money and the deception to be able to do this. But most people will never believe that we're being controlled and manipulated by that state that was created in 1948.
As 46 million people in the United States are on food stamps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
By the way, we have the money.
And then how much money do we send over there to them? I mean, in the millions of dollars every year for
billions. How about all the shopping bags that we were dropping on Kurzai's desk every month?
Oh yeah, don't forget about that. Mm-hmm. And not only that, all the opium revenue that's being generated from the heroin.
But oh my God, we have a heroin epidemic in the United States. How did that happen?
Yeah. Oh my.
All right, here. We're gonna play that CIA guy Israeli clip, but I gotta connect us. Here we go. Play. Maybe. Here we go.
For more news.
What the fuck? Something's been going on with that player where all of a sudden it's not selecting anything. I don't know. Weird shit always happens with my machines. Not always, but recently again. And anytime fuck this.
I might be able to pull it up here on my iPad.
YouTube.
Yeah, no, hold on. Here it is. It's open in my editing software. This player all of a sudden doesn't play what I click on. I gotta actually have it open in my editing software. So here you go. Wait, we gotta start at the beginning. I love this tune.
Yeah, it's good. It's a happy little song.
We're sitting down with Michael Scheuer, the man who had served in the CIA for more than 2 years, up until 2004. At one time, he was the chief of the CIA Bin Laden unit. Then he went and exposed how counter-effective Washington's methods were in the fight against terror. Bin Laden is gone. Who is Washington's number one enemy now?
Washington's enemy is an enemy that doesn't exist. We're fighting an Islamic enemy that Washington believes is out to kill us because we have elections, because we're free, because we have women in the workplace. It's an enemy that doesn't exist. It didn't exist when Bin Laden was alive. It doesn't exist now. America is being attacked because of its foreign policy in the Muslim world, because of its support for Israel, because of its support for the Saudi police state, because of its presence on the Arab Peninsula. And until we accept that, until Americans can say to each other, whether you support aid to Israel or not, our relationship with Israel is causing this war, we are not going to be able to defeat this enemy. And Israel itself as a country is not the problem. The real problem is the leaders of the Jewish American community in the United States who influence and corrupt our Congress to support Israel when we have no interest there.
You imply that the Israeli lobby is dragging the United States into the wars, into the conflicts?
They're absolutely dragging us in.
And, here's the thing. Actually, there are two things that I thought about while I was playing. The Saudi police state. Did you know that Saudi police are driving like freaking Maseratis?
Yeah.
Which is insane. But one of the other things that he said about, he used to be on that Bin Laden group and, about Israel. I remember, this must have been probably about a year ago, and I know these videos are gone now, taken down by YouTube. But there was an Al-Qaeda message. Remember when Al-Qaeda used to actually put out their little videos?
Yeah.
And it was before ISIS showed up on the scene, but I was really surprised, and I don't know if it was Al-Sharar, whatever his name is, or if it was like an old one that they yanked out that they said, oh, look, there was one more video from Bin Laden. But what the video actually said, and I was just so shocked, the video didn't say, oh, you American pig dogs, we hate you for your freedoms. What the video actually said is, if you don't want us to attack you, then get out of Israel. Get rid of the Israeli state. They are in the middle of our land, and they're causing all this. That's all they wanted.
Right.
That's what they wanted. And lo and behold, shortly thereafter, ISIS and all these other crazy names popped onto the scene, and now Al-Qaeda's second fiddle.
Yeah, well, Al-Qaeda's got their own magazine. I think I saw. I saw they had a coupon for like half off membership. So hey, I'm not saying that I want to join Al-Qaeda by any means, but hey, if you've got any aspirations for a jihadi future, 50% off.
Yeah.
They just want what we want.
Yep.
They just want what we want. They want to be left the hell alone.
Well, I mean, this is, you heard this CIA analyst say it's not even the people of Israel. Well, it's actually the rulership over there, whoever the Jags offs over there that are in complete and total power in that region. But he said it's AIPAC.
Yeah.
I mean, look at every. If you talk to any, what did Ted Cruz say? This somebody, what was it? I forget. Was it Drudge or somebody? He says, "I pledge allegiance to Israel."
Oh, did he really say that?
It was a legitimate article, and just look at it. I think even Cruz was somewhere where he was talking about Israel, and they just kind of booed him. It's getting very bad. It's getting very bad. I don't know. But you know what? They don't give a shit.
Ted Cruz isn't even American born anyway, is he?
Yeah. Well, his wife works for Goldman Sachs too, and they say that these guys are our only hope. But you know what?
Screw that.
When our only hope doesn't recognize that, like Michael Scheuer said, that. I would, in this other video, he says, I would dump Israel tomorrow. And then one of them says, well, I know you said that. We don't agree at all, and they're just all like, even King, he was just over there like, with his like huge fucking head and his speech impediment. I hate to say his speech impediments are awful things, but it just gives me something more to attack him on. Use something, one of his weaknesses against him. But these politicians, is it not? It has to be apparent by now. And I didn't see this like 2 or 3 years ago. We are under the control of a group of people that doesn't even give a shit about this country. They don't care about America. They're going to use as much as they can out of us, and then
that's why they do care about America. They care about America in as far as it makes them money. Because remember, that's what we are. We're a money-making machine.
If you can be in for somewhere between like 3 to 5 years in a senator, congressman, or whatever, you're going to get a lifetime payout from this system, so it's like, it's the big, just like Carlin said, it's the big boys club and you're not in it.
Yeah, we read something about that payout yesterday, but it's not like a full salary at $174,000. I think for 5 years you got like $15,000 after age 62.
Right. Well, so I think some of them, obviously get more. There's. Well,
if you're in for like 25 years, yeah, you get a nice big chunk.
Right, and of course all the sellout money, like McCain too.
They all get kickbacks though, so don't think that Yeah.
It's just like anything else. It's like you can go out there. It's like I'll give you an example. You say, hey, listen, Sholly, you want to have a show on my network, and we agree, and I'm on the network, and then say I want to run some commercials. So. That's the same way with Oracle. Doug said, "Hey, listen, if you want to run, a commercial in these breaks or whatever, that's fine." He said, "If you want to make, you can do it." So it's a platform for they get in there, and then it's just like, I'm in control. what can I do for you, and how much is it worth to you to get this done? So I'll vote for this. But, look at Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she barely made it in there, and now because she's a complete and total sellout and Satan's and the devil's concubine, she's going to make as much money. And like you said, I think it was you, Jules, saying that they're practically all millionaires.
More than 50%, yeah.
And growing, I mean, until
well, it was only 46% last year. Now it was like 52, I believe, is what the number was for this year.
Yeah.
That's a nice jump.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying Jules for Congress, man.
Totally, man.
Insider trading, baby.
Yeah.
Totally. For president, even, because I know that...
I don't want president.
We'd have to
that's
seriously protect you, though. You'd have to walk around in a...
Well, that's too much work.
You'd be like Cyborg Jules.
Nah, I'd take a Pope
I am
mobile.
your president. I need
Pope mobile
protection.
any day.
Why are you dressed up like that? Because, people want to kill me.
Did you guys see, speaking of the Pope mobile... I saw a story yesterday. Hold on. Did I put it on my page? So the Pope mobile was busted.
What?
Yeah, loaded with drugs. Yeah, seriously. And so the Vatican came out and said, no, we had nothing to do with that. How the hell did they get their hands on a Pope mobile? Wait.
Oh my God! That's okay.
Oh shit! I gotta find it. Here, dope mobile. They're calling it. This is actually an RT story. Vatican librarian's car carrying cocaine and cannabis detained in France. The librarian. Hold on, it's got to load. Here we go. Using an official Vatican car to transport cocaine and cannabis did not help two Italians avoid justice. Diplomatic plates failed to protect the two smugglers as they were stopped and arrested in France. Two Italians, 30 and 41, whose names have not been revealed, are now in a French prison. Wonder why they didn't reveal the names. Probably someone we'd recognize. There are varying reports on where the arrest was made. Local sources say the incident took place at a French border checkpoint, while the American Free Press reported that the two were detained at a toll station near Chambray in the French Alps. When law enforcement searched the Vatican vehicle, they found 4 kilos of cocaine and 200 grams of cannabis. So maybe they're having a big party.
Hell yeah, they're having a big party.
Up in the French Alps. It appears that the car belonged to the Argentine Cardinal Jorge. Is that how you say George? Jorge. Jorge Maria Magilla, 91, retired librarian of the Holy See, who is now recovering after a heart attack. They give him a heart attack gun and steal his car. According to the reports, the Cardinal's private secretary had given the car to the two Italian men a few days earlier to take it for its annual checkup. French RTL radio says that the two men used the car to drive to Spain to buy the drugs, assuming that they would be protected by the diplomatic plates. They were reportedly on their way back when the French police stopped them. This information has not yet been confirmed by legal sources. The Vatican has confirmed that one of its official cars has been stopped in France with drugs on board, but stressed that none of its staff were involved in the incident. Cardinal Magilla's car carrying drugs was effectively blocked by the French police, but the Cardinal, who is ill, is totally unrelated, the Vatican spokesman said. When asked, both men failed to provide a Vatican diplomatic passport, so the Vatican was not directly implicated, French sources say. Now, how many times do we have to see, like, packages accidentally sent to the Vatican loaded with cocaine, and now we got a car for the Vatican's librarian?
Yeah, yeah, ex-librarian.
Ex-librarian. I mean, God. Okay.
Nobody's going to check. I mean, until now, right? I mean, it's like that would be the last place that you would think that there'd be drug running, right?
Yeah. Man, that guy gave himself the damn heart attack of too much coke.
Who'd have thought the Pope was a pothead?
Yeah. Oh boy.
Smoking joints. Smoking joints with coke in it.
Well, there's a lot of partiers under him, man. I mean, they just are into the male sex clubs and all that stuff.
Well,
they were out there having a party with that shit.
It's Catholicism controlled through this, this Vatican and the bank and all that other stuff. I mean, it's totally, the opposite of what people think that it is. And what do? They see the Pope, they drop to their knees, and it's like, oh, the holy this and the holy that. And it's like, you know what? Grow up.
If you know what was really going on in there, in the Vatican, those walls, that has gone on since the erection of that thing, so to speak, lightly saying, pun intended.
Anyway, listen.
Really?
Shout out to Sean out there. Got people. Well, this is from the LinkedIn platform. There's some certain people out there that are aware of what's going on out there, and I just wanted to shout out to that particular individual for having an open mind. And this is the place for information. UCY.TV. This is before the first cup with Jules, Lady Pitbull, and of course I am Sholly. And I just wanted to shout out there because we got someone who's listening probably for the first time. And welcome to the platform. This person's awake and knows what's going on. So again, a welcome shout out to Sean out there. Hope that and I'll be communicating with you. So I just wanted to throw that out there. We got somebody listening that is just tuned in for the first time. Is the birth of a possible new listener and other new listeners to UCY.TV.
Dude, jump into the chat room.
Well, he's probably working at this point, but I mean, I had shared a geoengineering picture that he had posted in there, and he was like, and I reached out to him before, and I said, hey, listen, maybe you want to get onto the program and talk or something like that about, obviously like-minded people need to communicate, and so I shared that this morning, and I saw him respond to it, so I sent a message out saying, hey, tune into the network here. And so he's out there listening. So that's cool. Very cool.
Oh, well, cool. Well, welcome. Glad to have a new listener. The network is all kinds of fun. We're
talking about Ebola. We're talking about the Pope, them shipping drugs in the Pope mobile. We're talking about, we talk about everything. Geoengineering. We talk about the fake, war on terror. We talk about the fake war on drugs. You name it. We're not believing the bullshit. And
well, here's some bullshit that, yes, it's good and it will make New Yorkers excited, but I still think that there's an agenda behind all of this marijuana legalization for recreational use. And I'll share that. We've talked about that before, but anyone who thinks it's a good thing, here's my thing. People have been bitching about having marijuana classified as a Schedule 1 or Schedule 3?
I think it's Schedule 1.
Oh no, it's totally Schedule 1, so that the universities can't do any research on it. That's right. when they Schedule 1 it. That means that nothing can be done. That's why all this second, third, and fourth party things research has been done over the years that have resulted in very, very positive. Positive information, but that's why it's illegal.
Right. Well, then you have states like New York that are just so money hungry, and taxes here are insane. I would have to say, I don't really know because I've never lived in California, but between New York and California, they're the two most taxed states in the union. And New York is a state that every year they publish in our local paper how many more 100K plus plow workers we have. They make 100,000 more a year just plowing snow, which okay, that makes me think that I want to go take my civil service exam and get my plowing license. But here, a story came out yesterday. New York could legalize recreational marijuana in 2015, and what really caught my attention about this is that after Colorado legalized recreational marijuana even though Cuomo is like such a Nazi, he took a look at it, and I mean, they're money hungry. He's like, hey, maybe medical marijuana isn't such a bad thing, so they're just now in the process of starting this very deficient medical marijuana program in New York. But now all of a sudden, recreational marijuana could also be legal.
Wow.
I just want to read this because, you know, you've lived in a state for most of your life and you know how things work. So this struck me as one of those things that set off an alarm. It says the state of New York could legalize marijuana for recreational use as early as 2015. State Senator Liz Krueger will reintroduce the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act. Of course, it's all about taxes. During the next legislative session, which begins in January, her office confirmed. We are definitely introducing the bill next session, said Brad Usher, Krueger's chief of staff. We've received a variety of feedback since we first introduced it last December, and we're working on amending it. So we're looking to see what we can learn from Colorado and Washington when we reintroduce it. Now, what does that scream? We're going to make shit tons of money. You know, and as all these companies have been fleeing New York since the 80s, since the NAFTA, right? We lost a lot of our manufacturing here, a lot of the car plants and steel. I mean, yeah, you're up in Michigan too, so you know. I mean, this whole Great Lakes region used to be the panacea of manufacturing, and it's all gone now. There's nothing left much anymore.
And if you listen to Brandon Turbeville's last show regarding the Import-Export Bank,
yes,
and how they're actually shutting it down, or they're diminishing its, the importing and exporting. He also, through his, pretty awesome research, he says that it's, this right here goes into what we've heard about, of course, about the deindustrialization of America, to bring it to its knees.
Well, and the deindustrialization means that we become a service economy, which has already been happening over the last 20 years. But service economy jobs are shit. What kind of you know what I mean? We're not producing anything. Right. We're a human resource is what we become. So when I really started thinking about that, I was like, wow, for our Chinese overlords, they're going to have lots of housekeepers and stuff, restaurant workers. But now you start looking at this whole robotics revolution that's about ready to slap us in the face, starting with Jibo in 2014 or 2015, which, by the way, is only a few months away, people. And there's what jobs are going to be left. Even Bill Gates had come out and said, well, a lot of your jobs are going to be taken by robots. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that that's fantasy. It really isn't. When you start getting robots and then add to that all this brain project and artificial intelligence,
I mean,
what do you need us for?
Look at Elysium. Look at that. I don't know if you saw Elysium.
I didn't know.
Oh, dude, you should see that. That's
it's
really
just all like robots. It's he gets beat up in the beginning by robot police. Yeah. After when he gets to wherever he's going, bruised and beaten, he has to talk to a robot about the incident, and he's just like obviously very annoyed, and then the robot's like, would you like a pill? Would you like pushes pills? He's like, no, that's okay. I sense that you're angry for some reason. You know what I mean? It's just like this total, totally. And of course, Elysium, they're off planet and they live in this like amazing. I mean, obviously through the movie, but I mean they are actually working on these. Some of them. Because some of the early ones are actually going to be on the seas. I think the guy from PayPal. Bunch of these other people are talking about creating these Elysium type living country club on the ocean. So it's not that far off, I would imagine.
Well, not only is that not that far off, I've read a lot about that, and there are a couple millionaires that are working on things like that. But the other day on Facebook, this ad pops up. And we talked about this probably a few months ago about these new online psychiatrist websites. So you can go and log in and talk to a psychiatrist about all your problems online. Now, anyone who is that dense who would do something like that from a professional, what they're calling a professional counselor, and start spewing all your inner secrets as they're logging your IP address and figuring out who you are and what list to put you on is not very bright. But
well, check this out. This is spurred to what happened to me online. I spend some time on this LinkedIn platform, which is usually more for just professionals sharing job information. But people get, people introduce a lot of, cats, playing piano and shit like that. And so I get an invite from this one doctor, and I look at the thing, and it says mental health professional. And I thought to myself, I'm not connecting with you. Because what do they say mostly about the so-called conspiracy theorists?
Well, it's not even though this infiltration of social media and studying our interactions is well documented, and that's something that they're doing at the university as well as at the government level to target people. And so, LinkedIn, I used to actually be very active on there. I backed right out of that because absolutely not. I don't want anything tied to me, especially in a professional realm.
Yeah, might have been a bad move from my point, but
I refused to join that. I refused. Everybody was like going, "Come on, join LinkedIn." And I'm like, hell no, I ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole.
I wanted to share this.
Hold on one second, okay? I'll be right with you.
That's your happy noise for your mental health care professionals calling.
Oh my God, that's hilarious, Jules.
Somebody, when I brought this up the other day, says, "Oh my God, it's like the this online psychiatrist thing, professional counselor, is like the scene in THX 1138, which was I never remember his name. The dude that did Star Wars."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we did this the other day. So hold on. I want to play this. So the ad itself says, it's this woman with her hands covering her face, looking all distraught, and it says, "You deserve to be happy. Get started now. Get guidance, support, and advice from a professional counselor. Connect from anywhere at any time, privately and discreetly." I was like, wow, anyone who clicks on that shit, really, they must have some mental problems, seriously. If they're going to go spew their guts to some unknown online and spill all their secrets. So I did actually share that ad, and at the top I linked to the THX 1138 scene where they were doing just that. So hold on one second. Here we go. It's a YouTube clip.
My time is yours. Go ahead.
Now, in this scene, there he looks like he's probably a mental patient, and he's standing in front of this, might be like an LCD panel or something. The face almost looks like the face of Jesus, but not quite. You know what I mean? This is a sci-fi film. Oh, George Lucas, that's who it is.
There we go.
So here, you're going to hear two voices. One is going to be this online, tell me all your sins guy, and the other one is going to be the mental patient, like spewing his guts.
Very good. Proceed.
Like he's doing confession.
Ew.
And you know what? I don't know if this is even going to translate well to radio, if there's not a lot of dialogue. You know what I might do is drop this in chat instead so you can see it. But anyone who's not in chat who wants to see it, go to YouTube and just search THX 1138 and you'll pull up the clip to see what I'm talking about. But, here's the thing. Getting back to the Vatican, too. Well, a couple of the things that I've been watching happen, and, they've been postulating this for years, is religion has been a control mechanism since the very beginning, okay? You've had this otherworldly threat of eternal damnation if you're not good, right? That's why religions were created in the very beginning. It helped control the population. Well, as the 80s and the 90s kind of spun out, religion became less and less important because it didn't have, there are a couple reasons, but one, because it didn't kind of mutate with the values of society. It was still too rigid. But secondly, you had the collapse of the family unit. And really, kind of the family unit is what propagated your belief in religion, right? You kind of carried the torch then. If you were raised Catholic, then you tended to be Catholic. And back in the old days, people used to be very rigid in that. They had some really strong beliefs. With the advent of the internet, and with the breakdown of the family, with the two income earner family where you didn't have the nightly dinners and you had latchkey kids and all this stuff kind of all came together to kind of then remove religion from the importance of the equation. And so here, this is just my thought, but I've spent a lot of time thinking about this stuff. You know, they really didn't have an overlord to be able to control you with anymore. So I think that that's where this terror comes in. That's where big government comes in. That's where you needing to feel like you have to believe in something that will keep you safe, right?
Absolutely correct, Jules. I think you hit it right on the head there.
So now that, you know, a large majority of people, and two, when you look at like the exponential learning that we've been doing to the point where now, very scarily, especially the military-industrial complex has gotten to the point where they literally could be considered gods with this DNA splicing and manipulating our environment, this suicide that's going on for biological life on the planet right now. Some of these evil people that are in charge have elevated themselves to be considered, quote unquote, within little single quotation marks with a small g, they've elevated themselves to gods. They can.
They were lowercase g.
Yes,
Rager, well, Bill Gates, all of those guys.
Exactly. And so there needs to be now some other entity. So, you know, governments come and go, agendas come and go, but gods, quote unquote, are eternal. And so when I'm watching, you know, we've been sucked into this virtual reality over the last 20 years. They've really worked hard at kind of smearing the border between what's real and what's not. Television has helped with that, video games especially. Mm-hmm. And as they become more and more realistic, you know, kids have trouble telling the difference, I think, just watching some of this crazy violence that's been going on. And, you know, I used to be such a defender saying that this stuff did not affect kids when I was younger, but now being a parent and 20 years later and watching it from the birth to where it is now, absolutely. This is being able to desensitize our kids to blood and guts and violence and killing. And we've talked about how the very first video game that I ever saw when I worked in distribution back in the mid to the end of the 90s, when we saw the first video game come out that was skewed as a vendor of the Department of Defense, and that happened to be 18 years before the remote control UAV drones. They were training our children from day one. So by the time they got to be 18 years old, they were expert drone pilots.
Right.
And hey,
absolutely.
You know what? We've already been desensitized to blood and guts. We've already kind of smeared that border between what's real and what's fake. Add to that then this reality-based television, which, man, I got to tell you, talking about, we mentioned The Stand, another Stephen King was Running Man. Mm-hmm. If you've ever watched Running Man,
yep.
I totally see that this reality-based television is setting us up for stuff like that.
Come with me if you want to live.
Yeah.
But, you know, this 24-hour surveillance and you know, the very Romanesque type death games and that type of thing. You know, the fact that they now have the ability to watch us 24/7. And you know, if you guys remember back when I first started the show, I had started learning about Clear Channel's involvement with the FBI, and it started out with that Amber Alert program where they can broadcast. I didn't realize that those digital what do they call on the side of the road? The advertising boards.
Yeah, the live like TV screens with the commercials and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, what were they used to be called? Were they like plaster up with glue, the big pictures on the side of the road? And now they're digital. They're using LCD and LED, and it's all programmed. You can get your ad and it'll rotate, and it's on the side of the road. Well, they started this collaboration for the Amber Alert program with the FBI. So if a child within a certain radius went missing, they could then start showing pictures of the child. And you know what? I don't think that necessarily is a bad idea at all. But then when I started reading about, this was already 2 years ago, these HD surveillance drones, and then how journalism departments now are requiring, as a part of your degree, to start learning how to use these little mini drones to get footage. During the Boston the brothers
bombing,
and the bombing, right? They were getting all that footage of the one brother hiding in the boat, and that absolutely, I watched all that on the live feeds when that was happening at that very moment. Absolutely, those aerial pictures were not being done from a helicopter, because a helicopter has to circle. This thing was like floating right above, getting aerial shots down. It had to have been a drone. And all I kept thinking was, oh my God, it's going to be Running Man. They're going to target you with their 230-point facial recognition software as the suspect that they're looking for, and you're going to be broadcast out on every one of these digital LCD boards on the side of the highway, wanted. And then I actually saw that they are now using those for wanted posters. So put on a seatbelt, people, because it's coming.
Amber Alerts get issued like that, too.
Well, that's what I said in the beginning. Yeah, that was how it all started with Clear Channels.
On the phones, yeah.
Clear Channels project with them. But now it's even gone beyond that. So,
oh, my God.
And I don't know, we can add to that then all this DARPA technology, the fact that we had all these companies involved in the military-industrial complex. There were 8 of them working on these large robotics projects with seed money from DARPA that then Google just bought. Google, of course, that owns, the large majority of our online data, that probably knows more about you than your freaking mother.
Hey, Google, what's up?
Yeah. And then stick Ray Kurzweil in there as the head of engineering, and we had that, what was her bitch? I always forget her name, the chick from DARPA that got her foot in the door. And I know Hecty told me that she actually moved to another company now, but don't for one second think that there still isn't a dotted line.
Right.
And she was she was put in charge of the Motorola smartphone control your home.
The microchip eater lady, right?
Yes, the lady
I'll take my microchip.
Who swallowed her token.
Jules is so DARPA wise. Like if DARPA says 3 words in a report, she's like, I know what they're doing.
What's awesome about Jules.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, I grew up as a complete sci-fi junkie, and I used to love anything that was scarier than shit, like futuristic. I fed on that
as well,
stuff. And then my whole adult career for the last 25 years has been from the very beginnings of all of this technology. I had computers before anyone had a computer, and my Commodore, and I learned to program, and then I rode the freaking beginnings of the internet surfboard. I've been helping build this infrastructure since day one, and I gotta tell you, just like a jilted lover, man, I feel so fucking duped by this. That's why I'm not in the industry anymore, and I'm doing this, because I want to rip back the covers and show all. And the thing is I talked about this last week when I started going off on some of the RNAi stuff. A lot of the American public, unfortunately, are lazy mentally. And if it's too hard to understand, then it doesn't matter. And that's absolutely untrue. In this world of technology, if it's too hard to understand, you better double your efforts in paying attention and trying to figure out what they're doing, because it's not in your best interest.
No. Yep. Especially if they're going to come up with a new species of human being in the next 30 years.
Should we play that clip again?
Yeah, that's not long away. I mean, that's like right around the corner. That's within our lifetime.
It's not even within 30 years. They're saying that now because they've already created that DNA that now has 2 new proteins, the X and Y, and they've caused them to reproduce. So 30 years from now means you're going to have an adult child that has these 2 alien proteins in them is what's going to happen, right?
With superhuman strength.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. Here's the clip from, this was RT from a couple days ago.
Good old RT.com.
And Homo sapien 2.0, according to a researcher at the Global Brain Institute, a completely new human species will inhabit the Earth in just over 30 years. Now, this evolutionary step could be comparable to the transition from apes to humans. So, what kind of people will we become? Well, they say our biological clocks will undergo dramatic changes, which will allow us to live longer and give birth at an older age. And of course, technology will continue to make our lives easier. All kinds of microchip implants will be placed in our ears and our fingers and make many devices completely obsolete. But this dependence on technology has its drawbacks, of course. In the future, humans are going to have to compete for jobs against, you guessed it, machines and cyborgs. And since most of the work will already be done and automated by robots, a sedentary way of life will ultimately take over and make us all a little bit bigger.
What do you think of that?
It just, every time she says it, it's just like Global Brain Institute. I mean,
well, no, and they're in the middle of all this, and this is federally funded. We got DARPA, we got Google, we got Amazon, we got the National Institute of Health, we have Microsoft, we have Motorola that's in the middle of this, and then Johns Hopkins University. All these big colleges are involved. The social media, they're tapping into this IBM and their artificial intelligence. Don't think that this isn't all connected, because it is.
That's right.
Here, actually, I found a clip that I want to share, and I haven't actually heard this one, but I watched an interview the one day about this immortality project, and it's absolutely for real. But this was from Time. Time magazine revealed Google's plans to radically extend the human lifespan. Google in a brief history of immortality. So it is Google, I'm telling you.
Yeah, totally. I mean, they're just, and of course, you listen to the wording there. And it's like, oh, wow, they're going to enhance our lives. We're going to live longer. No.
See, Human 2.0 means Elite 2.0. Human 1.0 is you and me that are going to be used for the R&D project that saves all these corporations $10 million a year. From a line item, right?
Yeah.
That's what Obamacare is going to put everything you eat, everything you do, all of your records in a database that then can be data mined by these companies to see what GMO 2.0 using RNAi did to your body. You know what I mean? They'll be able to correlate the foods you ate with the illnesses that you then came out with, the arms that grew out of your head.
Right. They're raping our souls.
They are assassinating biological life. I really think that people, I hear so many shows going, oh, all these distractions. What are they distracting us from? They are distracting us from the ultimate, the hijack of biological life on this planet. It is that serious. That's that serious.
Worst. I think we need to find God. That's worse than the geoengineering or even the radiation or any of that stuff.
I think God checked out, man. I think they tied him up and locked him in a tortured Guantanamo-esque prison, and they're waterboarding him right now.
Oh, no, God, please.
Here, wait. All right, I don't think... This is 2 minutes. I want to play this. Google in a brief history of immortality.
They're so loving. They're loving.
I paused it, and it played me a sponsored message with some chick standing in a short skirt and a
car.
Yeah. And now she doesn't play.
The worst financial deal you can make.
What's that?
Well, buying a car, because they just get they get all the interest up front, basically.
Well, that's like buying a house.
Like they sell. So, well, I mean, I think
you pay all your interest up front on a house too.
Yeah, well, it's the banks. They're so loving.
Maybe this will play now.
manufacturing in the United States means advanced.
Well, yeah, we're not gonna listen to that. Sponsored message: manufacturing in the United States means that you don't have a job, you got to go to China.
I think in Russia looks pretty good right now.
Yeah, here we go.
Can you live forever? Or at least for a very, very long time? In the cover story for Time, Lev Grossman and Harry McCracken reveal a new project at Google aimed to radically extend the human lifespan. But Google isn't the first to try. In fact, we've been trying to achieve immortality for millennia. Here now is the history of immortality. Back in 2500 BC, King Gilgamesh believed a magic plant would grant him immortality. Around the 13th century, Roger Bacon wrote The Cult of Old Age and Preservation of Youth, which says aging is essentially something that can be cured. He suggested eating vipers because they shed their skins, and guys should breathe in the breath of virgin girls. In the late 1700s, James Graham had his patients rub themselves with balsam, suggested they wash their genitals in champagne, and created a horsehair bed that gave its users an electric shock. By the late 1800s, a French physician suggested ingesting the sex glands of guinea pigs and dogs. The idea of immortality began to resemble science fiction by the 1960s. In 1964, a physics teacher named Robert Ettinger published The Prospect of Immortality, where the idea of freezing a body so it could be revived later by advanced technologies was first proposed.
Disney.
The first person to be cryonically frozen was James Bedford on January 12, 1967. The biggest cryonics outfit is the Alcor Life Extension Foundation, where Bedford is still frozen. Alcor has about 100 frozen patients at its offices in Arizona. Futurist Ray
Wow.
Hold on. I don't know why this is freezing. Ray Kurzweil, come on!
Believes humans will achieve digital immortality by 2045 by merely uploading their minds into computers. The Russian-based 2045 initiative is designed to create technologies to achieve Kurzweil's vision. Then there's Aubrey de Grey, who published the mitochondrial free radical theory of aging. This is an attempt to repair age-related damage to human tissues. In 2008, pharmaceutical company GlaxoSmithKline paid $720 million for Sirtis, a startup that found that resveratrol, which is in red grape skins, extended the life of lab rats. Last year, the regenerative medicine industry was estimated at $1.6 billion, and some say it could reach $20 billion by 2025. That's big money Google likely wants a piece of.
So that didn't really get into any of their project. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on with those guys. But this made me think, too, of a story that came out like probably in May or June about how they discovered the fountain of youth. If you took the blood from a young creature, let's say, and you pumped it into an old creature. Do you guys remember that one?
Yes, I remember that.
I heard something about that.
They actually swapped, like the young blood in the old creature actually made it young again, and the old blood in the young creature made it old.
Wow.
Wow.
You know, what that struck me as is if you think back to some of the stuff that you've heard and read about the elite sucking the blood of youth and stuff, I was like, no.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much par for the course.
Yeah,
but notice how that went from like an herbal, plant-based, obsession or whatever to eating dog's balls to downloading your freaking brain into the Matrix. I mean, what a progression.
Well, that 2045 project too. Look that up. That's been around for quite a while, and it is a Russian millionaire who wants to be able, he's a little bit different, he wants to be able to put your brain into a robot body, where Kurzweil wants to just become part of the machine.
Yeah,
he wants to upload himself.
Yeah, upload. It's just like that one recent movie that I didn't see it, but that Johnny Depp or something, I don't know if it's him, but he uploads himself into the whole computer system.
Transcendence?
Transcendence, yeah.
Well, remember Tron?
Yep, Tron.
Tron, they were in the machine. I don't think it was for immortality purposes, but they did that as well.
Yeah, yes. Biden urges Air Force cadets to shape a new world order.
Oh, great.
Oh, there you go.
There he is, Joey, bye-bye.
Yesterday. It's like we were saying yesterday. It's no longer a new world order. It's like a one world hive mind.
You know, one of the things I was thinking, too, speaking about cadets and armed services, is if you send 3,000 troops into Ebola-laden Liberia, you know, just like when they sent all those troops in the first Gulf War to Iraq, I had so many friends. That was back in the early 90s, so we had just graduated, late 80s, early 90s. We had just graduated high school and college, and guess what they made those guys all get? That experimental anthrax vaccine.
Oh, yeah.
So, hey, now we have this Ebola vaccine that has just recently been approved for treatment in humans after, 2 doctors were miraculously cured. I'm going to tell you what, I will guarantee you that those soldiers that they're sending over there, they're going to make them take that.
That didn't even freaking occur to me. Guinea pigs, let's send the guinea pigs out into the field.
And you don't have any say in that when you join the armed services at all.
That's right. You sign that dotted line, you're theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So will be interesting to see. I do know a few people that are in the armed services. I hope that they're not having to go to Africa. I'll have to find out, because that's kind of scary.
That didn't even occur to me until you just said it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just like anytime they send, as I said, there's a multi-pronged situation that they're trying to accomplish. They're going to enslave Africa some more. They're going to, possibly infect. Like, they'll probably send, the 3,000 over there. And then at some point within a couple months, they'll bring, like, maybe 500 of them back.
Right.
And they'll have, like, super mutated Ebola running through them, and then we got the stand. We basically, Then
it becomes airborne, and they come back here. Bam.
Well, not only that, but there was a clip the other day, I think I mentioned it yesterday, from the resident on RT that had said that Ebola is actually a STD, sexually transmitted disease. They've discovered now that the Ebola virus can live in semen.
Well, so was the cancer virus that they said about the SV40 cancer virus that was put into the what the heck was it? The one polio vaccine or something like that.
No, they were going to use it on Castro. That was Dr. Mary's monkey.
But then they're saying that they're finding the SV40 cancer virus in children. It's like sexually transmitted through. So look at that. If that is true, then they were able to create something back then that was sexually transmitted to the point where people have it today without, children without essentially have had any sexual interactions.
Well, I saw...
Unless you're near the Pope.
Yeah. I saw actually in one of the RNAi stories that I was digging into as to how they're actually creating this, creating these vaccines and this 2.0 GMO food. It's all the same process that, they were sucking stuff out of mice and then inserting human genes and doing all this other crap, but they were using cancer where they sucked the guts out and then they were inserting other stuff as well. I found that interesting.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
So
they've been, there you
have it.
With the amount of money that all the expendable cash that they have. This is just. I really do think that they are, from a biological standpoint, it's quite possible that they've met. Like what Wendy was talking about the race-specific bioweapons and all this stuff. It's here. It's here, and all we can hope to do is slow it down. Like they used to say about Michael Jordan. Oh, we could just if he scores 30 points, that's good. But then he scores 50, and so that's what you had to slow these bastards down. This, and of course, trying to expose this, but as they clamp down more and more on the internet with the net neutrality and all that stuff, because once people can't really communicate on this platform, It's pretty much over.
Well, and I don't know if you heard the way the show started, me talking about this letter I got from YouTube yesterday.
Oh yeah. I tuned in probably around 9:10
for all original content, mind you. Mm-hmm. So the only thing that I can imagine that they're trying to hit me for is Kevin Blanche saying they'll be calling you a radical at the beginning of the show.
Did they specify that?
They didn't. They didn't say, but I remember Kevin back a few years ago having a rant on YouTube about getting hit for a copyright strike for saying they'll be calling you a radical.
Dude, that is just, they can't do that.
No,
so if I get on and I on my show on Sunday and I go with my guitar and I go
yeah, you're going to get hit. Yep.
Even though it's just me playing it and it's not the original.
Yes.
Or anywhere.
Even cover tunes, yes. And I'm telling you what, I know people, if that really is the case, I'm going to get somebody to get me written permission from Supertramp.
I don't know. I mean, we got to get together and sue these bastards. Got it something. I mean,
that's ridiculous.
They can't control information like this.
It's free speech, man. Bottom line, and that's censorship. And screw censorship. That's what
they'll be calling you a radical, though. Who copyrighted 6 words? How can you copyright a sentence?
You can't.
It's
impossible. It's free speech.
It's the incremental shit that they've got to be called on, and people have to. I mean, maybe you should. What's that? The Electronics Frontier Foundation, EFF.org.
Well, we'll see.
Send that. So try to send as much of that information over to them as possible. I think they're legit, and then we can build a case or something on them, and then screw them and use their shit. But like, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to copyright speech.
Well, we'll see. And that's what I'm going to do once I get off air today is I'm going to start formulating a response to that. I was so angry when I saw that. And I mean, everything else is original. So that's the only thing I can think. But, of course, they don't point out to me what they are sending me the notice for.
They won't let you monetize it, right? They're not saying you can't do it, but they're like, you're not going to make any money on it.
Right.
Is that it?
Well, they said, the 8 cents that you make, like, per video. For the $4 a month that you gain, yay, for the network. Like I said, it covers our Skype call-in line. Well, like it's $1 million. But, I mean, it's just ridiculous to me that they would be hitting me up, and I've been so careful. I mean, all the hosts know I've asked people to be very careful not to get us some sort of copyright, because then I have to go argue with YouTube, or I got to go remove the offending material, and that's a pain in the ass, and I don't have time to do that.
But it's really, really difficult when they're just, with a random sentence. You know what I mean? It's hard if they're attacking you for stupid crap like that.
Well, they said they can't qualify. I have to now show them proof that I have rights to images and all the video and the music. Well, all of it was ours. We made it all. Between me and Ozzy Skateboard and Mr. Kevin Blanche, the 3 of us made it. So that's, like I said, that's the only thing. Kevin does his show from his cell phone. So it's not like he's even running clips or anything.
He does it from his cell phone?
Yeah, Kevin calls.
Outside.
So he does like a hotspot or something, right?
Well, he's usually traveling somewhere. He's at some event or whatever.
What's his show? What is his show?
It's after this one on Tuesday, Thursdays, called Post Ignorance. He just messaged.
Oh, Kevin Blanche, the Ozzy Skateboard, as I was asking about.
Oh, no, Ozzy doesn't do a show, but he will pop up to chat. Well, Ozzy does do the UCY spot, our station ID.
I love Ozzy.
This is Ozzy Skateboard. You're listening to UCY TV.
I love that.
I don't know if he's in chat this morning. Good morning, Ozzy, if you're listening.
We love you, Ozzy.
Ozzy.
So I don't know. Do we look at like in the last 2.5 minutes or so? I could read to you the most disturbing headlines of the day.
There you go.
I saw these this morning. Angry mob throws Ukrainian MP into rubbish bin. They show him like laying in a garbage bin. Man accused of cannibalizing ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
This one. Man tries to swim to North Korea to meet Kim Jong-un.
It's a ride with Dennis Rodman, dude.
Yeah.
All that radioactive water.
He was an American too.
He's done. Here's one.
Done.
Dozens of children feared dead after being injected with tainted measles vaccine in Syria.
Oh.
Jeez. That's
a bad one.
Yep.
Yeah, so line up for those vaccines. And were they infected, or was it some sort of new RNAi vaccine that they decided to test on children in Syria?
Tainted measles vaccine under a UN-sponsored program. The loving UN.
Well, the UN is also going to step in regards to Ebola and the troops.
I saw in clips. I saw UNICEF over there, so they're killing them, man. They're killing. Under the guise of saving and stopping this Ebola, they will kill more people because that's what the agenda is.
Well, didn't that just happen in Pakistan too? With all the there were millions of polio vaccines.
After Bill and Melinda, the Devil's Minions Gates left. They're killing people. They're killing people.
They need to be arrested instantly, like right now.
I'm telling you, man, you give me like 24 hours of ultimate control, you will see all these fuckers hanging from a rope. I'm sorry, that was a little radical, but I shouldn't say they'd be calling me. But they'd be hanging. I'd be killing.
I think I'd rather see them locked in a Guantanamo prison, just like they've been shelling out, waterboarded personally.
Well, this is the deal. I would be like, listen, you're going to admit and you're going to confess, and we're going to give you an hour to confess to what you've done. If not, then it's going to be painful. It's going to get really painful. Waterboard. You're going to wish for waterboarding. That's my little sickness comment for today. But.
Well, how about like public stonings?
It definitely has to be something that is extended over a period of time. It can't be like that's too quick. I guess that's too quick for them hanging. That's too quick.
I don't know. Anyway, guys, we have managed to suck up 2 hours of everybody's morning again successfully.
Fire, maybe.
Fire.
Set them on fire.
They did that to the witches.
Right.
Yeah, or we could use some of our new, what did I just see that the TIE fighters, DARPA's now going to release these new TIE fighter jets that have laser rotunds on them.
Oh, but it's cool because it's Star Wars.
Yeah, it is laser rotunds, yes.
The TIE fighters.
To be able to burn a hole in your skull and 36 other people, too.
Yes.
Instantly. All right, guys. Well, it is Wednesday today, so make sure you stick around. We got Hale Anthony up next, Mr. John Stokes, Mr. Jack Blood, and then we have Josh live at 6 p.m. We have Dane Wigington's most recent running at 8 Eastern. Truth or Talk Radio with April and Verstein. And congratulations, April, on the new bundle of joy. And then Nick and DB on an 11 p.m. Eastern with Anti-Media Radio. Thank you for being on with me today, Lady Pitbull and Sholly. Make sure you guys catch Sholly this Friday and next.
Yeah, I'll be on there.
Everybody have a happy Wednesday. Yes, thank you very much, Sholly.
Thanks, Wendy.
Thank you, Jules.
Thank you, Wendy. All right, guys. Everybody have a good day. Take care.